Well, welcome back, folks, to another Membership Machine show. It's me and Kirk again. Spencer, my other normal co-host, he's had a bit of ups and downs the last couple of weeks. He's had to go into hospital to have eye surgery, but hopefully he will be back revigorated with both eyes next week. Otherwise, hopefully Kirk will be able to come on the show and help out. Kirk's my normal co-host on my other podcast. We're going to get into this and start the podcast. I'm going to switch my email because that's annoying. Very annoying. If it would let me switch it off. So 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, folks, to the Membership Machine Show. This is episode 28. It's me and Kurt, my co-host for this particular show. My normal co-host, Spencer. He's having a bit of a rough couple of weeks. He's had to have eye surgery. He tells me that it's gone successful. He's making a recovery, and hopefully he will be able to join us next week. Otherwise, I'm sure Kirk, if he can, will help out. So in this show, we're going to be talking about Zoom alternatives for your membership website. If you're a coach or if you're trying to build a community, Zoom has a lot of integration and it's very popular if you've got a membership website. But there are changes coming up at the end of this month, the beginning of June, that you need to know about. And also we're going to discuss some alternatives as well. Should be a great discussion. So, Kurt, do you want to introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers?
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. My name is Kurt Von Onen. I own an agency called Mañana No Mas, and we focus largely on learning and membership type websites. And then, of course, helping some other vendors out like WP-Tonic.
That's right. Thank you so much. So before we go into the main meat and potatoes of the show, I've got a couple of messages from our major sponsors. We will be back in a few moments, folks. We're coming back. I just want to point out we've got some fantastic offers from the major sponsors. Plus, we got a curated list of the best WordPress solutions. If you're looking to build a community or membership website on WordPress, then you should. To find all these goodies that will save you money and a load of time, go over to WP-Tonic/deals. WP-Tonic/deals. So let's go straight in it. So fundamentally, folks, Zoom has been very popular to do video conferencing one-to-one if you're a coach. If you want to embed it on your website, and this applies to almost any website solution, it doesn't have to be WordPress, but me and Kurt think you should look at WordPress. It's very popular to utilize with coaches to integrate with a calendar system and also offer it as part of your membership as a group membership level or webinars. It's just very, very popular. But there are some fundamental changes happening on the 1st of June. That doesn't affect you if you're utilizing this at the present moment for about a year. But if you're looking to set up your website in the next couple of months, it will affect you. They were utilizing a technology called JWT. I'm not going to go into the technology on this podcast because it's very technical and, to be quite truthful, a little bit boring. But they're changing this to OAuth. And it's a great decision. It will make utilizing Zoom more secure, but it does mean you've got to jump through some loops. So, Kurt, what are your takes? Because you've been dealing with this with some of your clients. What's your own reflection about these changes that Zoom have announced, and what's your own perspective about how this makes it a little bit more difficult to set up?
Well, Jonathan, I'm not really a coder developer type person. As you know, I'm more of like this implementer type, if we're to be descriptive. And so I'm sure there's reasons somewhere, somehow, why all these hoops and things are in place. But I'll tell you, as someone that's setting up sites for other clients to use and just host meetings, the approval process and the connection process, the new way of connecting Zoom, is an obstacle. It's a lot more involved, and you have to set up your own apps within Zoom and then connect those apps to the accounts that you want to stream or embed with, and it just makes it more difficult. And so it's caused me to look for other options.
It's friction. If you're doing this very regularly, you're going to be doing it regularly for your clients, your WordPress, helping people with WordPress, or you're a technical individual. It's not going to be a great barrier. If you're the average coach or somebody that's not dealing with this on a day-to-day basis, this is a lot more provides a lot more friction. And they provided documentation and that, but it just represents friction, doesn't it?
And I think I want to go one step deeper. I don't want to talk bad about Zoom in this regard. Their directions, to your point, their user guide is very specific. And if you follow the user guide and you follow each instruction exactly, it works. But, in our marketplace, Jonathan, we have a lot of people that fancy themselves as DIY type clients. And they go, well, I can do that. And then you get the phone call with, hey, it's not working. It's not working. It's not working. And it's twice as much work to try and figure out how they messed it up, as opposed to just doing the process for them. And I think that's where some of my angst comes in.
Yeah.
I set a few of them up and they work.
Yes. I think you've put that well. So we're going to look at some of the alternatives. It's not that we're saying drop Zoom, because it's a very great company, very legit. For around $150, you can utilize, I think it's up to 50 people you can have in a Zoom room. At that level, for the $150, the paid pro version, it provides a lot of functionality. It has some, I wouldn't say problems, but like everything swings and roundabouts, folks. It's an app-based application. You do have to download the application on your PC, on your Mac, on your Linux, on your tablet, on your iOS, on your Android. They provide the app on almost all platforms, and it's rock solid on all the platforms I've tried it on. But you do have to download an app, and like all apps, they tend to want to upgrade just before you got your most important call, and they have their upgrades almost semi-automatic, or you can, I think, and it can cause some problems because it is an app. So we're going to look at some of the alternatives that we think are good possibilities if you're looking to utilize this type of coaching sessions or group sessions on your website. So number one, Microsoft Teams. Oh my God. They came on the scene during the pandemic. They're a major player because it's really highly integrated if you're in the corporate Microsoft world, and almost 95% of American business, medium to large, is in that world. It's free, and they also have a paid version. Probably works great if you're in that world where you're utilizing Microsoft 365, if you're utilizing Outlook. My experience as a Mac user and isn't so good. What's your own feelings about Microsoft Teams, Kurt?
Jonathan, I feel like I'm going to make this broad sweeping statement, and it's going to expose my politics. I can't stand anything from Microsoft, and I'm a PC user. I'm not a Mac person, but I have strategically eliminated Microsoft projects from almost any aspect of my work. I've had I used to be a loyal Office user and a loyal Microsoft 365 subscriber, but everything kept failing. Think my Outlook stopped working. Nothing would sync anymore. I mean, it was just a nightmare. And then Teams was that same just struggle, that user interface of getting sign in your account, your password doesn't work, double authorization, use the auth code in your mobile phone. I'm like, my goodness, I'm just supposed to be in this meeting in 3 minutes and I can't seem to sign in.
It is extremely frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah. And then a lot of my corporate clients, to your point, will only meet in Teams. And so they send these Teams invitations out that half their team can't sign into it at the blessed moment to have the big discussion. That you've used the term friction earlier in our show today. And to me, Teams is one of those things that just has a way of injecting friction when it never should be there in the first place.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's probably because of all their resources in AI. I've been funny there, folks. But it's a typical Microsoft. They will work on it. It will improve. But I don't think for the audience that we're talking to, you could utilize it as part of your website, your coaching, your group, your community experience. I don't think it is a suitable tool. It has attractions, but that's just my honest, and I think Kurt agrees with that as well. Let's go to the next one, which got similar feelings about, but for different reasons. It's Google Meet. It used to be called Google Hangouts. I used to do my podcast utilizing this, and basically WordPress were one of the first players. They had Google Hangouts before Zoom entered the marketplace, and then they said, well, we're giving up on it. We can't be bothered with this. And then because of COVID, their interest reoccurred and they renamed it as what Google regularly does with a lot of their products. They rename it. It's not so the product, folks. It's the company behind it and their uncanny ability just to drop products, to rename products. The friction in utilizing the product. I think I don't think it's got some of the painful experiences that probably me and Kirk have with Microsoft Teams, because I have had people send me invite and it does seem to work and they have improved the interface, but I would not recommend it to the audience that are listening to this podcast. What are your own feelings, Kurt?
I'm a little more mixed on this one, Jonathan. I don't know why I have so much patience for Google and not enough patience for Microsoft. But every time someone's invited me to a Google Meet meeting, and this is not an exaggeration, every time someone's invited me to a Google Meet meeting, I've been able to get to the site, get to the URL, click join the meeting, and I've been in the meeting. And it's always worked. So from that perspective, I tick that box and I go, well, it works. The other thing that I like with Google Meet is its integration through the Google Calendar and automatically making a meeting based on a meeting time or Google. It's so that they've reduced the friction in that way. Like they've done a really good job with that. And there's some other integrations with other calendar tools and stuff that it integrates with smoothly. So I like that. To your point, this change in the names and dropping products, and because I in my mind I'm like, was it Google Buzz? Was it Google Circles? Was it Google? Because I remember the Circles thing like 10, 12 years ago. And then that became Google Plus, right? And then all of these things seem to mesh and meld together. And in the end, as a user, you're like, I don't know what the hell's going on. And you can't build a business on that. So if this was a business tool, you couldn't use it that way. Uh-oh, I think I've lost Jonathan. I don't know if I've lost Jonathan or if Jonathan's lost me. I still have a good internet signal. I'm still on and the counter is still working. So now I'm curious. Is this the Kurt Von Onen podcast show now? Well, folks, on the off chance that Jonathan has frozen, I think I might, let me try and open up a new window, see if I still have the ability to open things up. And it appears that I do. So I'm going to assume that Jonathan is frozen. And let's go on to the next one that is on our list. The next one that is on our list is called Whereby. Whereby is super interesting to me. It was developed in Norway by privacy-friendly Europeans. It's beautiful video calling privacy, and it's basically wherever you are. There's no installations, no downloads. It's all in the browser. But to me, this is where things have just gone on a whole different path for me. And let me just try and type a message to John here in private chat. Are you with us? Because I think Jonathan is checked out. May have had an internet problem. Maybe he'll sign back in. But, and I'll check comments here to see if we're good. Oh, this is nice. Yeah, we've got eMedia Hosting is with us. Said, would this affect all of the WordPress plugin that integrate with Zoom on WordPress? There are quite a few Zoom-related WordPress plugins. To my knowledge, that is a yes. And bear with me, folks. Hello, Mr. Denwood. It is you. I just kept on with the show. Yeah, do you want to sign back in? Or do you want to start over? Cool. Cool. Well, there's a question from eMedia Hosting, so I'm going to... Cool. Thanks. Yep. Bye-bye. Yes. Yeah, just give me a call. So I think Jonathan's going to reset things and we might restart the show or redo that. But just to take this moment on the chance that I might miss you, eMedia Hosting, the different Zoom integrations, they had that JWT integration. So if you were the person that set that up, you would remember there's a JWT connection where you kind of signed in, username, password, authorized, boom, you have now connected Zoom to this URL, boom, and off it would go. And so if you remember that process, if you're on that JWT process, Zoom has been sending out email notifications to people letting them know, hey, this is going to be replaced in June. They've been telling us that for about the last year. So I'm super happy with Zoom that they gave us advance warning for this. I personally, for part of my agency, I've sent that out as part of my monthly newsletters, my weekly newsletters. I've tried to tell clients, hey, we have to upgrade your Zoom integration to the new process. But you know how that works, right? So people have put it off or they have ignored that notification. And what will happen is in June, a lot of those connections aren't going to work. And then, the phone's going to ring off the hook and it'll be an emergency. So I'm trying to avoid that. Now, I don't know what other agencies charge, as far as that kind of stuff goes, but, an agency could charge somewhere between, $50 and $400 an hour, depending on who they are and who their client is. And so that could be an expensive, change, especially if it had to happen on an emergency type basis. So I wanted to make sure that I answered that question for you. It says you were about to buy the premium WordPress plugin called eRoom that embeds Zoom into WordPress pages. Here's my suggestion for that. At WP-Tonic, we do a lot with Buddy Boss. And so we put Buddy Boss into a lot of people's websites. And Buddy Boss also has a Zoom integration, kind of like you're saying eRoom would embed that Zoom for you. So I would get in touch with eRoom through their support link prior to purchase as a pre-sales question and say, hey, are you guys already on the new Zoom integration process, or are you still using JWT? If they're still using JWT, you need to find out what their plan, for transition is, because that's going to be an important part of your mission, part of your business. If you look at the Buddy Boss situation, on behalf of all of our clients, we've contacted Buddy Boss and we've said, hey, are you aware of this? They said that they were. We said, are you working on a workaround for this? They said that they were. We said, what is that workaround? And they said, we'll let you know. So that part of it is pretty cool. The next thing I was going to talk about was going to be the whereby. And folks, if you are enjoying this talking about different ways to stream or hold these live meetings, this is a pretty good example of a live meeting that failed, right? We lost an internet connection, but you want to tune back in, because Jonathan and I will be back shortly once he can get reconnected, and we will restart the show. All right. I'm going to go ahead and leave the studio for now, but I will see you later. In the meantime, let's do this. Folks, if you are looking for a really great hosting option with lots of features built in, you want to check out WP-Tonic.com. WP-Tonic.com. For the low cost of just the hosting, you get access to all of the tools that you would want to build your interactive website. They have a CRM tool, a scheduling tool, different LMS tools to choose from, automation tools, and all of the licensing that you need to operate those tools comes with that hosting package. So that's one of the great advantages of working with WP-Tonic. WP-Tonic also offers you a kind of a white glove onboarding experience. So you're not just given a blank WordPress slate and a handful of tools and told, hey, good luck with that. What happens is we do an onboarding meeting with you. We find out what your use case is. What are the tools that we offer that fit your use case the best? And then we assemble that site for you with all of those tools in there on a template, so that all you need to do is sign in, change the text, change the images, maybe configure your Stripe account to the e-commerce platform that you've chosen, and roll out your business on a freshly hosted site on WP-Tonic. It's a really, really great way to go. If you're looking for more services from an agency perspective, I would love to see you at manananomas.com. And also, I am the only Kurt Von Ahnen on LinkedIn, and that's where I meet a lot of my people. So feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, and we'll have a discovery call, get to know each other, and see where it leads. Folks, I'm going to go for now. We might be back later. Bye-bye.